Welcome, kings and queens, to another episode of Unapologetic, your number one podcast. This is the show where kings and queens tell their legacies and on. So get ready for the gems to drop and pull up to the table.
MCC, the presidents, there were somewhere between 8 and 10 years. And there was one or two that were short-term presidents, not necessarily due to their fault, but just because of the environment in which they found themselves.
Okay.
Or then I'm sort of, I'm the second longest tenured president when I retired, just over 13 years in MCC's history. And the longest,
Amazing.
So I'm at 13 years. The longest person, Dr. Umbright, was there for 28 years.
Yeah.
I said, man, I can't do that. I will be like 85. So that's
Right. Hey, oh my God, man.
no, that's not, Nesbary is going to be sitting in a log cabin in southern Maryland, retired by the time that happens.
I understand that. I hope so.
but yeah, we had some things to get done, and we needed to have more effective connections with the legislature and with the grant making, I'll say, fields. So we were able to get some great things done. Lots of help with our local and state, our state legislators were very helpful.
And Governor Gretchen, did you work with her as well?
I did toward the end of my time at MCC.
Okay.
She was outstanding in terms of helping us navigate through COVID. People don't think about that, because when I was at MCC, we raised something in the neighborhood of, I'd say, $17 million in infrastructure grants, and another several I think it was up to 24 million. So that's 17, but like 8 million in private and other gifts and grants to rebuild campus.
That's
and then
crazy.
The public provided basically a bonding initiative for us to do some additional work. So some of the things that we'd never really gotten done in the way that we need to get done, we were able to do because our legislators helped us, governors helped us, and while most of the infrastructure funding came from under Governor Snyder's watch, and he has issues around how he dealt with a number of issues, but in terms of funding for us, we did well. But then Governor Weber comes in, and we basically done the infrastructure work, but we needed funding to help our students be able to live and work their way through their lives, not just come to a school where there's a brick and mortar building built. So one grant for 1 year for student support was under Governor Whitmer was like $15 million.
Whoa!
And so that happens if you're a college of
that's amazing.
Well, see, but that is something that it was a little bit higher than what we've done in the past. But if you're doing your job as a college, you're gaining, or I should say, earning support from the federal government to support your students in financial aid and say there are grants for living expenses and those kinds of things.
Right.
And usually community colleges aren't really thought of as doing or having those needs, but community colleges, like I said, MCC, they were plus or minus 7,000 students when I was there. That's larger than most private schools in the state. And MCC was on the smaller side for community colleges.
With 7,000 students. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. So, Doc, the things that you're able to put together and work, and the people you're able to work with, it's almost like you're a magnet, to those who share the same type of outlook in life. And not building, well, earning the trust of the community, advancing the community, the college for its infrastructure. Because even right now, MCC looks amazing. It doesn't even look like a community college when you first see it. And on top of all of those amazing accomplishments, why you don't really hear about you being awarded too much, especially um it seems like with your peers, a lot of your peers. But I end up finding one award that you uh ended up gaining, and I want to say that you were the first to get it. It was the Celebrate Impact.
Oh, right. The Impact Award from the Community Foundation.
Yes. That was pretty big, man. Like it, it's almost like getting a Grammy. How they put it, you know what I mean? Because of the things and the accolades, and plus the people who speak of you, in those rooms. How was that for you?
Well, it was a surprise. I mean, when it's kind of funny the way that worked out is that I had another meeting that took place. It was in Grand Rapids at
Okay.
the exact same time that they were planning to award me with the Impact Award.
Oh.
And so it was about a month before the actual ceremony. And so it was a foundation uh, annual meeting, and I had just rolled off of their board. I'd been on the Community Foundation board in Muskegon County for 9 years, and then you 3 terms unless you're very, very special. Like Aslan Scott is very special and talented.
Yeah.
Ms. Scott, now trustee Scott, I think she served another few years just because there was a need, and she generously agreed to serve. And so I had rolled off, and the Grand Rapids meeting was Talent 2025, which is a group of now Talent First is what it's called.
Okay.
So leaders from all sorts of industries meet to help move the college, or not the college, but our region forward, West Michigan.
Right.
And colleges and universities were a part of that. So I said, well, I'll go to the Talent 2025 meeting. And so my wife, they talked to my wife about it. And so she said, yeah, yeah, yeah. They said, well, you got to get this guy to come to this meeting. And she's
Right.
like, why? Because he's like a board member here, and he's is like I don't remember what I was, maybe vice um, chair of the board, something like that. So I had to be there
Wow.
to get things done.
That's
So
crazy.
finally they said, look, man, we're going to give you this award. If you don't show up, it's going to look pretty bad if we're all there saying congratulations.
It is not you.
Yeah, yeah, and you're not there. So
That
so
that
anyway,
that was amazing.
yeah, so that was nice, but I understand it was the first, not understand, it was the first impact award that the Community Foundation developed, and they hadn't had an award like that before, so they wanted to create it, and so I was blessed to be the first recipient.
Yeah,
So,
of course, man. You from the research and the knowledge, and plus the personal connection I have with you, especially talking in the hallways at MCC,
oh
you
yeah,
giving me advice on because I remember it like it was yesterday, man. It was my computer science class, and I had a final exam, and I was
oh no,
stressing. And I'm like, oh, I've been studying all week, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And you stopped in the hallway and talked to me. You was like, look, if you always worry about something, you'll never accomplish anything. I
Hmm.
was like, darn, you know what? Let me go in this class and let me let me get myself together. And I ended up getting the highest grade in my computer science class because of
Oh
that conversation. I had got 105% on my test.
man,
That was amazing for me. I actually put it on the refrigerator when I got to my house.
I don't think I ever got 105% on anything.
Yeah,
So good
I
work.
really, it really helped that speech of yours. It it really shows the the person that you are. Like a lot of people in your position, they seem like politicians, public figures. I'm not saying all politicians are bad, but they have another face that they show behind closed doors,
You
which
can't do
which
that.
results in their actions to the people. But with you, your actions, your demeanor, your energy, it's all the same, but in different waves. And that's
Yeah.
what, I myself, in my opinion, love about you as a doctor, as a professor, and as a person. And so I thank you for that. You changed a lot of lives at MCC, because a lot of my friends, we used to talk, after class, sitting in the lobby of MCC. I remember that. And you used to come up a lot. I hope Doc is doing this for us on in theater. I know theater was a real big thing at MCC when I was going. There was a lot of
Oh,
theater
no,
majors
still is.
at MCC, and you turned MCC to the major theater place to come to, because we had a lot of high school students there. I know, especially in some of my classes, think I had six, maybe seven high schoolers
Oh, yeah.
just there,
Yeah.
and that was beautiful. It was amazing, and it showed that you yourself and the staff at MCC. I got to give them the credit they deserve as well.
Yeah. They actually did it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did an excellent job, man, building up that school, and so I wanted to say thank you for that, and uh, you also helped pave the way for my extravagant business ventures that I've created as well, amongst the others that supported me. And man, I thank you, and continue to do what you're doing even now, being retired, as they say.
Yeah. No, I know. Thanks for the recognition, but I mean, you did the work, and everyone just needs someone to share with them that they can do the work, and that's
Right.
where I owe my parents so much. That they always knew that we could accomplish what we would want to accomplish.
Mm,
There were people along the way who felt the same way, or in my case, I think one of the reasons I was more successful than I otherwise would have been in Muskegon is that I was from the area, and there were people who knew my family,
mm,
and they were uh, they were supportive in ways that I would hope that they would be supportive, but and then they were. And I'd hear from someone. I mean, there's a businessman, Roger Anderson, who he's since passed, but Roger knew my dad. And my dad worked for one of Roger's companies back in the day,
okay.
and he would we would be in a meeting, and Roger's there, and there's business leaders from all over the place, and someone would say something about this or that, and then he'd always bring me up and pat me on my back and say, this guy is not your typical guy, or he'd say something that he didn't have to say,
Right.
or
Right. Right. Right.
Dr. James Jackson, who passed maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He was one of the first African American um, physicians in Muskegon, if not the first.
Wow.
And he was in his later years, people just saw him as this old retired doc, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
no, man, this guy, he was walking picket lines. He is one of the reasons that uh, say grocery stores and various clothing stores and whatnot that were in Muskegon at the time were integrated. Because I mean, if
Oh,
you were black
wow.
at the time, they would almost run you off when I was a kid. And so, because of Dr. Jackson, people like that would happen. And my dad he was a union vice president in the mid 1950s in Muskegon. And
That's
if you
crazy.
I have this picture that I sometimes use as my background. So there's all these union guys in a national training. Um, in Wisconsin somewhere, I think it was. And so they bring these guys together, and there were 100 guys,
Right.
at the time, and they were probably 15, 20 African Americans in that group, and in the 50s, before the Civil Rights Acts,
Yeah.
um,
That's
64,
amazing.
65. And those guys, these guys who were in World War II, these were all guys, World War II soldiers or Korean soldiers. They were walking around with high-powered firearms, and you're not going to tell these guys what they can own and what they can't own. That's my dad's attitude, and so
Yeah,
he'd walk into a room
I
and
respect that.
yeah, yeah, and it's if you have that kind of perspective and you believe that you should be someplace. I mean, it didn't occur to me. to walk into a space, well, anywhere I've ever been, I guess, when coming to Muskegon and defer to someone. It's like there are
Right.
people they thought I should defer to someone because this is this person was someone's, friend. I said, no, man. If this person do they have a PhD in public policy? Have they prepared a budget for one of the largest cities in the country? No, I have. So if you want someone to, if you want me to take someone's not just their advice, but do what they want me to do, they have no experience except for they're someone's buddy. No, that's not how the world works. The real world, the people who are successful, they have skills, they have talents, and they bring those to the table, and they don't just take someone's word for it. And
Right.
that's always been was my parents' approach and leaders who I respected. That's their approach, and that's how people I see as successful or I want to be successful. I want them to understand that you can't just come to the table. You can't build your own table if you don't have the skill set to do it. So
Right.
that's
It's gonna be
another
just a bunch
rant
of
here, but
wood.
yeah, yeah, you got to have that wood, and that wood,
Uh,
if you have that nails and hammers and saws,
exactly.
all and whatever you need to build something, you got to have that in place, or else you may not be successful. So,
Man, I want to thank you, Dr. Nesbary, for taking the time out. I know I've contacted you a while back, and man, when I started seeing how you was moving, I'm like, wow, he's busy even after retirement. This he must be relaxing, you know what I mean? But I love the hustle and bustle about you. And once again, I appreciate the time for real. It's amazing that I've come this far and I can have people like yourself, men and women, that have done amazing, amazing things, man, that I would never thought about doing or even had the concept of it. But I want to thank all my supporters. I want to thank my family and you guys for actually sticking with us right here on Unapologetic Podcast. And of course, Doc, do you have anything you want to give to the audience, man? Because it's a lot that I know you shocked a lot of people with this one. It's like a wow factor. What is there
oh,
one thing you can tell somebody that that can bring them up or can push them forward? What would that be?
well, what I always share with people is that they need to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. You can't just have an opinion. Lots of opinions out there, and you need to be able to do the work to support that opinion to see whether it's valid, or speaking as an academic, valid or reliable. I
Mm,
mean, and one of the things I'm doing now, I know this is a little bit beyond the question, but I'm a part of a company, Campus Works, and we travel around the country advising colleges and universities in technology, strategic planning, um, and those kinds of areas. And, and we're heavily involved in helping support, say, the U.S. Department of Education and
we need
institutions
it.
that are under siege right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to a conference in a couple of weeks. I was at one a couple of weeks ago about these topics, and these people, the people who want to keep these tools in place, they can't just join Facebook or Blue Sky or places like that and put their opinion out there. They have to get out and work hard.
Yeah.
So work for what you want. Don't assume that something's going to happen because you think it should. You've got to work hard, and it will manifest itself to the hard work that you put in.
Man, I thank you. All right, you guys, man. Thank you for all the support. And we've been going 5 years strong. I can't believe it, man.
Five years, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
been
great.
it's been amazing, and I'm glad to bring you a part of the unapologetic family, Doc. Is
Yes, sir.
make sure you're excuse me, you're always welcome, when regardless of what we have going on. If you have something that you want to share to the people, man, this platform is here for you. And thank you all everybody for uh, loving us, supporting us all this time. Of course, you can like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, man, you gotta stay going forward. Like Doc said, man, you gotta put in the work. And man, we thank you. All right, Doc. I support everything you're doing. Hey, if I can actually make it to a conference, man, I love to see one of your conferences. It's been a while since I heard you, speak your mind and actually teach, and you're great at it. So,
Washington D.C. There's stuff happening all the time. I'll keep you posted. Let's stay in touch, absolutely,
yeah, of
and I'll
course.
let you know what we got going.
All right, thank you, Doc. All right, y'all, stay unapologetic, and see you at the next one.